here is your startup, it's your baby, and then now you start acquiring, you start merging. You have these close partnerships where you're letting outsiders inside your ecosystem. What is your playbook for that? In nutshell, I'm asking about M&A because there is also culture integration. There is also a lot of things you need to prep your team to go through, and you have to coach the incoming team. How is that experience? Do you enjoy that, or what is your wisdom? What wisdom do you come out with?
I guess I can talk more about people we hired. So my last company, Cohesity, acquired Veritas.
Big
but
one.
I'm no longer there, so I can't comment
Right.
as we discussed doing my next company.
Also the Gen AI wave, and there was a time you were building probably Nutanix when things went AI first, right? The industry was looking at AI, or no, you were in Cohesity.
I was in Cohesity.
You were in Cohesity. So how did that go? I mean, how do you make that call?
So I would say the first thing that you need to do, if you surprise people, it's always tough.
Yes.
Right? If they come in with whatever learnings they have from their past companies, and they operate based on those learnings. Then one fine day you tell them, well, this is not how you should operate. You need to operate differently. That's kind of tough. Right? Because once they start working a certain way, making them change is going to be tough both on them as well as on you. And then imagine doing that for every person that comes in, right? It becomes highly unscalable. So what I believe in doing instead is to set the expectations up front. So the company should have documented processes on what you expect people in this company, how we operate. So it starts with core values, right? You need to have very strong core values, and you need to take every occasion to, tell people what those core values are.
Let's say core value means in Cohesity, maybe you have security practices, which you don't do away with. And the incoming company maybe not from a security background. Then you have to tell them, okay, this is how we do. We take security very seriously. So please make sure you do ABC before you start the process.
It could be. Core values typically are more the way you work. And security could be. I've not had security as one of my core values, but let's say integrity is a core value.
Integrity, okay.
Right? Integrity is an example. Another core value we had at Cohesity was customer obsession.
Customer obsession.
So right. So these are like the very core of how you operate. Then you have other HR material on how you're supposed to operate in this company. So that way, when the people come in, they're like, it's kind of like, when you visit a new country. When, it was in 1995 when I first came to the US, and I was literally told that, hey, this is how US operates.
Correct.
And so now my expectations are already set. So if I operate differently, it's my fault. Right. Whereas if nobody tells me anything and I keep operating the way I'm used to, and then somebody comes to me, well, no, this is not how you use it. And like, what are you talking about? I've been operating like this for months now. Right. So that's kind of tough. So
this is again systems-based thinking. If you've not thought through how you're going to define your company's image to the incoming team, that is your problem.
That is your problem.
Correct.
And you will face hardship as a result of that. So my take is systematize the way you expect your people to work by informing them upfront how your company operates. And that way they quickly adjust. The best time to make them adjust is when they're coming in, right? Because they're coming in with open, it's like an empty cup, right? They're like, tell me how you operate and I'll adjust, right? That's the right time to tell them. And then you keep reminding them again and again, this is how we operate. And that's kind of how you inculcate the new culture.
That's the CEO's job or the chief people officer.
It is everyone's job, but the CEO's job is to make sure that it is being done.
It is being done,
right? Okay. Whoever is, the CEO's, eventually everything is the CEO's job, but then the CEOs also delegate, right?
Yes.
And they follow up to make sure that whatever they've delegated is actually happening. So in that way, it is the CEO's responsibility to make it happen. Because if you don't, then you end up with a mishmash of cultures. Right? Some person comes from some company, they operate like they're operating in that company. Some other person operates differently, and now the left hand of the company is operating very differently from the right hand of the company. It doesn't work. Whatever way you want to make the company operate, you lay down the rules and tell everyone this is how you operate, right? My systems thinking comes from actually a comparison of traffic systems, right? I grew up in India, so the traffic system in India and the traffic system in the US. It's basically two different systems. It's the same bunch of people that would drive one way in one system and differently in another system. It's all based on systems, and So it's a different system.
So it's a reward system. In US, the fine is very high, so people are scared, right? And the cops are watching everywhere. So looks like we need to have like an alternative of that in the system you're building.
Yeah, it's not just the penalties, if you may. It's also the upfront training. The upfront training is very strong in the US, right?
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of rigor that you go through when you get your first driver license.
Yeah.
And then, yes, they hold people accountable or penalize them if they're not driving well.
Yeah.
And a couple of those things combined make for a great system.
Yeah.
And so the same thing, you want to, when the people enter the system, you need to train them, right? Just like a driving.
And then you monitor how they're
and you monitor,
learning.
right? And then when they are not complying with those rules, then you hold them accountable.
Yes.
Right. And so some of the same principles apply.
Yeah.
But the net result of it is that while there are always going to be some detractors, the percentage of detractors grows significantly less if you build a great system.